We're here back at the Fantasy Bar. 6 plays for you for week 14 on Fanduel and Draftkings, including some of my favorite correlation plays. We've got some value plays for you. What games am I targeting here in week 14? And of course, my favorite play on the slate. Who is it? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Week 14 edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. Good to be back here once again in the Fantasy Bar talking some week 14 on Fanduel and Draftkings. Thank you, as always, for stopping by and checking out the video. Now, before we get into the plays, as always, make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy the content. Even if you don't, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Get notified when these videos are coming out. Make sure you head over to scoresandodds.com/beer for tons of sports betting information. Link right there in the description of the video, and head over to fanduel.com/OG. Come play against Head Chopper, Notorious, and myself in our single entry season-long tournament. All the information you need at fanduel.com/OG. All right, let's get into week 14. Here we're running out of weeks, so let's have some fun. Let's have a good week here. Let's start at wide receiver in the mid-range with AMARI Cooper of Dallas. So we saw AMARI Cooper return in that game against New Orleans, still dealing with some COVID lingering symptoms. Was not a full-time player in that game. Still looked good in his opportunities. I think we're going to get him back at full strength here, and I'm loving these prices I'm seeing on AMARI Cooper. We're seeing CeeDee Lamb's price start to separate a little bit here from Cooper. Gallup is right there. He's a little cheaper, so I think both of those guys more enticing options for people for those reasons. Lamb with the ceiling, Gallup with the cheaper price point. Let's not forget here about AMARI Cooper. So likely the lesser owned of these three Dallas Cowboys receivers in a great matchup here with Washington. Big game here in the division. Washington, we know the secondary been terrible. The defense has been bad, and we know they lost Chase Young for the season. So things are going to get worse before they get better here for Washington. But bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to this position this year. I think this Dallas offense in a great spot. And I think AMARI Cooper going to be back to a full-time player, just too cheap out there here in week 14. All right, let's go to the other side of this one. Get you some value at tight end with Ricky Seals-Jones. So questionable as of right now. Sounds like he's trending towards playing if he's in there. I love these prices here as well. We know Logan Thomas once again plays back on IR, just cannot stay healthy. And this is a valuable role. We know when RSJ has been in there, when Logan Thomas has missed time, he's been pretty productive. Had a nice stretch of games there in the middle of the season, and this is a spot we can pick on this Dallas defense. They're good against a lot of positions, not so good here against the tight end. In fact, bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed and fantasy points allowed. If RSJ is back in that football team lineup, going to be a big part of my lineups here in week 14. All right, to the running back position next in the mid-range with star rookie JAVANTE Williams of Denver. Now, I hear a lot of you out there already talking recency bias, so hear me out here. This one is very interesting here. We saw him absolutely look dominant in that game last week on the national stage, which is going to cause a lot of attention to go his way. But there's a wrench here that can mess things up a little bit, and that's Melvin Gordon, and maybe not the way you're thinking. Let me explain. If Melvin Gordon is out, JAVANTE Williams is uber chalk. Everybody's playing him in this matchup against Detroit. We'll talk about them here in a second. But with Melvin Gordon back, people are going to be expecting that same 50-50 time split, and maybe that's the way it goes. But I think Williams was too damn good. This Denver team's still in the hunt. So I don't know how you only get this guy the ball half the time and you're still trying to give touches to Melvin Gordon. So Gordon being back is actually a bonus here. It's going to make people shy away. It's going to lower the ownership here on Williams. So I like him regardless. Even if Gordon's going to get some touches, I still think his explosive ability against this Detroit team is something I want to go after here. Again, prices under 7K and FanDuel under 6K on DraftKings. Big play ability here. And we mentioned the Lions, bottom 6 in almost every single category against running backs this year. Rushing yards, fantasy points, touchdowns. This is a fantastic matchup. I think we see another big game here out of JAVANTE Williams against the Detroit Lions. All right, let's go to the wide receiver position. Guy's a little banged up, but I think he gives it a go this week. That's Elijah Moore of the Jets. So this questionable tag will help us out as well. We look for any little added bonuses we get. A lot of people do build those early lineups, even in the NFL, which I do not suggest doing. You should be waiting until you have all the information at your disposal on Sunday, but that's going to make some people nervous here. Is he 100% healthy? So again, it's a situation where we get a discount on the ownership, and I want to take advantage of that here with Elijah Moore. We know the production, the targets, everything trending upward here. In fact, averaging over 10 targets per game over the last few weeks. And as a top 20 DraftKings points now 3 times over the last couple as well. So really, really productive here. Even in a bad offense, Elijah Moore getting the job done, finding the end zone as well. We're talking 5 touchdowns over the last 5 games in New Orleans, bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to this position. So a solid defense, but a secondary we can take advantage of. More guy they're getting the ball to here. If he's a go for my lineups as well here in week 14 against the New Orleans Saints. All right, speaking of the Saints, let's stay right there. And we're going to go to the quarterback position here with TAYSOM Hill. So I know he's dealing with a little bit of finger injury. Sounds like he's going to give it a go. Not as serious as we may have thought initially. And I love this matchup here for him with the New York Jets. Let's look back at last week. Got the job done, even with 4 interceptions. Does not matter. This guy and his rushing ability, over 100 yards in that game, still went over 27 DraftKings points with as bad as he looks. So if that's going to be the bad game, just think about what the upside can be when he does play a good game. The Jets certainly capable of allowing that to quarterbacks. In fact, you look at some of their stats, they've only intercepted quarterbacks 4 times on the season. So the interception risk is low here. They also give up a ton of fantasy points, bottom 10 in the league here. Kamara may or may not be back. Really doesn't matter to me. TAYSOM Hill with his mobility, with his legs, a guy you can definitely want in your lineups, especially with the high ceiling that he gives you at these low prices here this week against the New York Jets. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for week 14. But before we do that, we want to continue our Beast of the Week contest. Congrats to our winners last week. All you got to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points on DraftKings for my favorite play of the week. The closest guess is going to win themselves a free month of RotoGrinders Premium, a chance to check everything out behind the scenes. If you're already a subscriber, we will send you a free RotoGrinders t-shirt. While you're there in the comment section, let me know who your favorite play of the week is. Who's your Beast of the Week? Sound off in that comment section. All right, without further ado, let's wrap this baby up. My favorite play for week 14, you know, Matt's Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We owe you one more running back. We're going to go out west with running back Austin Ekeler of the Chargers, this week's Beast of the Week. I love this spot for Austin Ekeler, and we got a lot of moving pieces here with the Chargers here as we record. We know Keenan Allen, Mike Williams dealing with some COVID. We'll see if they're able to return or not. If they're missing one of those guys, obviously Austin Ekeler gets that much more of the receiving pie, even if they're both in there. I still love this play with Austin Ekeler. Now, small sample size here, but this guy's been an absolute terror at home. Only 1 time so far this season was he under 22 DraftKings points, averaging over 28 DraftKings points a game. We know he has a huge role in the passing game here with the Chargers. We know they love to give him the ball on the ground, even around the goal line, which was always a concern. He's getting those touches here as well. And we can't draw up a much better matchup than the New York Giants right now. Bottom 10 in rushing yards, receptions, receiving yards, which is perfect for a guy like Austin Ekeler, and fantasy points as you'd expect. Plus, Jake Fromm may be at the helm here for the Giants. Should be a game the Chargers can control. Big home favorites, which is where we love to target our running backs. Add it all up, Austin Ekeler, easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that wraps up for week 14 in the Fantasy Bar. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Don't forget, fantasy points for Austin Ekeler on DraftKings for your shot at some free RotoGrinders Premium. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and get notified. Got a Yahoo video out each and every week as well. And it's Yahoo pricing, but it's 6 more guys that I like. So go and check that out as well. Scoresandodds.com/beer for sports betting needs. Fanduel.com/OG to come play against us, and make sure you're checking us out every single Wednesday, breaking down the entire main slate with our favorite plays and our favorite bets on the OG's podcast. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck on FanDuel and DraftKings this week. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist